It is 9 o'clock on a Friday night. You just sat down after a long week. The TV is on, dinner is half eaten, and for the first time all day, you finally feel like you can breathe. Then comes the knock. You walk to the door. Through the peephole, you see two officers in uniform. One of them smiles. The other glances around your porch. You feel a small knot in your stomach, but you tell yourself it is probably nothing. So you open the door. This is educational content only. For specific legal guidance, consult a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. The officer says, "Hey, sorry to bother you. We just need to ask you a couple of questions. Mind if we come in for a second?" And without thinking, you say two things that will destroy every legal protection your home gives you. The first is, "Sure, come in." The second is, "I have nothing to hide." Every single day, homeowners across this country speak those words and hand law enforcement something no warrant could have given them. I have analyzed hundreds of documented door encounters and studied the Supreme Court rulings that govern every one of them. And those two phrases, each spoken out of pure politeness, are the most legally expensive sentences a homeowner can say. In this video, I am going to give you the exact 4 rules and the exact words that replace those two phrases, keep that officer on your porch, and keep you out of handcuffs inside your own home. Rule number 1 is never say, "Sure, come in." Rule number 2 is never say, "I have nothing to hide." Rule number 3 is what to say instead, word for word. Rule number 4 is why recording everything from the first knock changes the entire encounter. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is backed by Supreme Court rulings most people have never heard of. Before we get into the rules, you need to understand the legal framework that makes these two phrases so dangerous. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution says the government cannot conduct unreasonable searches and seizures of your home. And the Supreme Court has been very clear that your home is the most constitutionally protected space in all of American law. Florida versus Jardines, decided in 2013, called your home and the area surrounding it first among equals when it comes to constitutional protection. That area surrounding your home, your front porch, your walkway, your side yard, is called curtilage. Courts have ruled that curtilage gets the same Fourth Amendment protection as the inside of your living room. Now, what does the knock and talk have to do with this? A knock and talk is the specific investigative tactic officers use when they approach your front door without a warrant to try to get your permission to come inside. The Supreme Court in Kentucky versus King confirmed that officers have an implied license to walk up to your door the same way any private citizen can. Think of it this way. A Girl Scout selling cookies can walk up your front path, knock, wait a moment, and leave if no one answers. Police have that same license and nothing more. The Girl Scout does not bring a drug dog. She does not peer through your windows. And she certainly does not ask to come inside your living room. That is the legal line. The moment you say, "Sure, come in," you have just handed the officer something the Girl Scout test would never allow. Free access to your home, to every item in plain view, and to everything they can smell or hear once they are standing inside your front door. Rule number 1, never say, "Sure, come in." This is the single phrase that erases the warrant requirement in 1 second flat. Picture this. It is a Sunday afternoon. A homeowner named David hears knocking. He opens the door to find 2 plainclothes detectives. They say they are following up on a neighbor complaint and just need to clear something up real quick. David thinks he has done nothing wrong. He thinks cooperating will make this go away faster. He swings the door open and says, "Sure, come in." Those 3 words, spoken in about 1 second, accomplish something a judge's signature would have taken days to produce. Under Schneckloth versus Bustamonte, a 1973 Supreme Court ruling, voluntary consent is a complete waiver of your Fourth Amendment rights. And the court held that you do not even have to know you had the right to refuse. The moment David said, "Come in," every item those detectives could see, smell, or hear inside his home became legally accessible evidence. No warrant needed, no probable cause needed, no judge needed, just those 3 words. Here is the wrong way it plays out. "Officer, mind if we come in real quick?" David, "Sure, come in." Officer steps inside, glances around, and now everything in plain view is fair game. The Plain View Doctrine means an officer in a lawful position who sees evidence of illegal activity can seize it without any additional authority. David giving consent put those officers in the most lawful position possible inside his own home. Now, here is what David should have said instead. Stay calm. Keep the door mostly closed. Say clearly and politely through the door, "Officer, I am happy to speak with you right here. I do not consent to entry into my home." Say it calmly, say it clearly, say it politely. "Officer, I am happy to speak with you right here. I do not consent to entry into my home. That one sentence locks the legal door. The officer is back on the porch where their license ends. If they persist, you repeat it exactly the same way. I do not consent to entry into my home. Bottom line on Rule 1. Sure, come in is not cooperation. It is a complete legal surrender that no attorney can undo after the fact. Protecting your entry point is only one piece of the constitutional framework at your door. What Schneckloth established about consent covers physical access. But there is a second phrase homeowners speak that works differently, operating on its own legal track entirely and triggering a fully different vulnerability. Rule number 2 targets exactly the second track, and most homeowners have no idea it even exists until they are sitting across from a prosecutor. Rule number 2, never say, I have nothing to hide. This phrase is not consent to a search. That is why it sounds safe. That is why people say it. But it does 3 things that each cause serious legal harm on their own. First, it signals to the officer that you are willing to talk, and talking is the gateway to statements that can be used against you. Second, it often leads directly to consent, because people who say they have nothing to hide feel psychologically trapped. How do you say no to a search after you just told the officer you have nothing to hide? You have backed yourself into a corner. Third, and this is what most people never see coming, it tells the officer you have not had legal counsel. A homeowner who knows their rights does not explain themselves to anyone at their front door. They do not need to. Picture this. Maria opens her door, and an officer explains that a neighbor reported suspicious activity. Maria says, I have nothing to hide. I just had some friends over. The officer says, Great, so you won't mind if I take a quick look inside. Maria says, No, I really don't have anything. The officer interprets the word no as no, she does not mind. He steps inside. Maria did not say come in. She said she had nothing to hide. Then she said no in a way that was instantly misinterpreted. This happens in documented encounters all over the country. Now here is where the progression gets serious. Once the officer is inside, because Maria's ambiguous language created apparent consent, the Plain View Doctrine activates. Maybe her roommate left something on the kitchen table. Maybe there is prescription medication that looks like something else from 3 feet away. Maybe there is nothing at all, but the officer claims he smelled something, and now the entire encounter has escalated. And subscribe right now, because rule number 3 is the most important one in this video. The exact words that replace both of those phrases and give you maximum legal protection at your own front door. What Maria should have said, Officer, I appreciate you coming by. I am not opening the door further or consenting to any entry. If you have a warrant, please show it to me. If not, please leave my property. Calm, polite, firm. No explanation, no, I have nothing to hide. No room for misinterpretation. Bottom line on Rule 2. Explaining yourself hands them the conversation, and the conversation is always where the trouble starts. That brings us to a real documented case that shows exactly what both of those phrases cost a real person. In March 2021, a Phoenix man named John Harbison called 911 himself. He reported a possible break-in at his apartment near 13th Avenue and Roosevelt Street. He voluntarily allowed officers to enter his apartment to search for the supposed burglar. That right there is a sure come-in moment, except in this case he was the one who made the call. When officers entered, they found no sign of any break-in. There was no burglar. What they did find, sitting in plain view throughout the apartment, were 6,000 fentanyl pills, 392 grams of methamphetamine, a handgun, and more than $4,000 in cash. The Phoenix Police Department posted about it publicly. They called it a plot twist. Harbison was arrested on multiple felony charges. His bail was set at $5,000. This is the Plain View Doctrine at maximum force. Harbison's consent to enter was what courts call valid consent, freely given, without coercion, regardless of whether he understood what he was giving up. And Schneckloth tells us that is entirely legal. You do not have to know you had the right to refuse. The consent stands. Here is the lesson. Harbison was not hiding from police. He called them. He was not combative. He let them in. And that one act, opening that door and consenting to entry, cost him everything. He did not need to say, I have nothing to hide. His behavior said it for him. The minute he voluntarily allowed those officers inside, the warrant requirement evaporated and the Plain View Doctrine took over. Remember his case every time you feel tempted to open that door to show you have nothing to hide. The law does not care what you intended. It only cares what you said and what you did. Now that you understand exactly why those 2 phrases destroy your rights, here is what you say instead. Rule number 3 is the exact language that protects you, builds your legal record, and keeps that encounter where it belongs, on your porch and not inside your living room. The first exact phrase is this: I do not consent to entry or searches. Say it calmly. Say it clearly. Say it politely. Say it through the closed door if you want maximum protection. I do not consent to entry or searches. Why does every single word matter? Because consent has to be voluntary and unambiguous. An officer cannot claim you nodded. An officer cannot claim you stepped back. An officer cannot claim you stayed quiet. You stated it out loud, clearly, on camera if your doorbell camera is running, and now the record says no consent was given. That phrase goes back to Florida versus Jardines and the knock and talk framework. The officer had an implied license to approach. You have just revoked it by making your lack of consent explicit. The second exact phrase is this: please leave my property. Say it calmly. Say it clearly. Say it politely. Please leave my property. Under French versus Merrill, once you clearly communicate you want the officers to leave and they know you do not want to speak with them, continued presence on your curtilage without a warrant becomes a Fourth Amendment violation. The court found no qualified immunity for officers who remained persistently. You are not threatening anyone. You are revoking their implied license to be there. The third exact phrase: I plead the fifth. Say it. Not silence, not a shrug. The Supreme Court in Salinas versus Texas ruled that silence alone is not enough. You must verbally invoke the Fifth Amendment. I plead the fifth is short, clear, and legally airtight. It ends the interrogation. The fourth phrase: I want a lawyer. If the encounter escalates, if they are pushing past the porch, if they are claiming exigent circumstances, say it out loud. I want a lawyer. Say it once and stop talking. Stay calm. Stay polite. But stay completely silent after that. Bottom line on Rule 3, these four phrases together give you maximum legal protection. Do not step outside. Invoking your rights is not suspicious. Now, I want to be honest with you because this channel is about legal truth and not just what sounds good. There are exceptions to everything we have covered, and a complete legal education means knowing when the rules change. Exception 1. A warrant signed by a judge. If police arrive with a valid search warrant or arrest warrant signed by a judge, they have the authority to enter your home whether you consent or not. Ask to see it through the window or a cracked door. Verify that it has your correct address and that it is actually signed by a judge. Then comply without physical resistance. Your battle moves from the doorstep to the courtroom. Do not consent to anything beyond the explicit scope of that warrant. Say clearly, I do not consent to any search beyond the scope of the warrant. Exception 2. True exigent circumstances. If officers have genuine, objectively reasonable grounds to believe someone inside is seriously injured or in immediate danger, courts will allow warrantless entry. The January 2026 ruling in Case v. Montana, a unanimous Supreme Court decision, confirmed this standard. There must be an objectively reasonable basis for believing an occupant is seriously injured or imminently threatened. A vague tip from a neighbor does not meet that bar. A noise complaint does not meet that bar. An officer claiming to have heard something ambiguous through a closed door does not meet that bar. Now, here is where state law matters. In Texas and Florida, courts have generally applied the federal standard on consent closely, meaning your explicit refusal carries full weight. In California, courts have sometimes offered broader state constitutional protections under Article 1, Section 13. In Indiana, Article 1, Section 11 of the state constitution has historically provided homeowners stronger protections than the federal baseline. Always verify the specific rules in your state, because the variation is real and it matters. Most officers follow the rules. This is not about being anti-law enforcement. It is about the constitutional line at your front door. Knowing where that line is protects both you and the officers who are operating by the book. Your Fourth Amendment protection controls physical access. The exception block tells you when that protection has limits. But there is one more tool in this encounter that most people completely underuse, and it operates on its own legal track, documenting every second of what actually happened. Rule number 4 is recording, and it changes everything. Start recording the moment you see or hear police at your door. Your phone is your most powerful legal tool in this situation. Your doorbell camera footage is Exhibit A if this ever goes to court. Every documented encounter that was challenged in court came down to one question: what actually happened at that door? When you have footage, you have the answer. Officers are trained to control the narrative of a door encounter in their written report. Recording creates a competing narrative that is immune to revision. Here is the exact phrase to say when you begin recording. For everyone's safety, I am recording this interaction. Say it calmly, hold the phone steady, and keep your hands visible. That phrase accomplishes something important. It frames the recording as protective and mutual, not adversarial. Courts have consistently upheld the right to record police performing their duties in public and at your doorstep in all 50 states, and cloud store your footage instantly. If an officer attempts to interfere with your camera, that footage of them approaching and covering the lens is your evidence of potential misconduct. Stay calm throughout. Stay polite. Your composure on camera is your best legal defense. If you are calm and the officer is aggressive, that footage tells the story in court. If you lose your composure, the footage tells a different story entirely. Stay calm at the beginning, stay calm in the middle, and stay calm all the way to the end. Your tone matters as much as your words. Bottom line on Rule 4, your camera is a legal instrument. Using it correctly gives you a record the officer cannot rewrite and a foundation no consent argument can erase. Here is your core principle. Opening that door and handing over your words is not cooperation. It is the legal equivalent of signing away your constitutional rights with a smile. Now, you know exactly what those two phrases cost and exactly what to say instead. Let us recap the 4 legal phrases you must lock into memory right now. Phrase 1. I do not consent to entry or searches. This is your Fourth Amendment protection stated explicitly and on the record. Phrase 2. Please leave my property. This revokes the implied license and triggers the French versus Merrill protection against persistent porch presence. Phrase 3. I plead the Fifth. This is your verbal invocation of the Fifth Amendment, required by Salinas versus Texas, not optional. Phrase 4. I want a lawyer. This ends all questioning immediately and triggers your Sixth Amendment right to counsel. Write these down right now. Save them in your phone. Say them out loud once so your brain has the muscle memory when you need them. This is educational content only and not legal advice. Always consult with a qualified attorney in your state for your specific situation. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell so this legal education keeps reaching you before you need it. Subscribe so you are always equipped with the exact words that work, because the next knock could be the one that matters most. Share this video with someone you care about, because the person who needs this might have officers knocking on their door tonight. Let me know in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is right now. You just learned your rights at your front door. Hype this so someone else learns theirs before police ever knock. Your home is your castle. The Fourth Amendment built the moat. Now you know exactly how to defend it.